What's going on? Welcome to another show, the Beyond Sets and Reps podcast. I am your host, Dr. Coach Pat Ivey, and I have special guest, one of my former players. I say that with pride. Justin Britt's in the house, former NFL football player, husband, father, definitely someone that I could not wait to connect with. JB, what's up?
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Life is rolling and things are good. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Well, you deserve that. I didn't ask you if there was anything off limits, but there's a couple things that come to mind when you talk about introduction and how you were introduced into the world and the size that you were. So people may not know, but you played in the NFL. You were an offensive lineman. You played on the from probably I think maybe some tackle guard. I know you finished up your career as a center, but something that always stood out to me, as much as your old strength and conditioning coach wanted to do a good job of helping you to be bigger and faster and stronger. Um, you came into the world kind of that way.
Yeah, yeah. What was I? 11 pounds, 8 ounces. Um, but that's funny. It really hasn't been talked about. There was a little story. Coach Carroll, Pete Carroll, he had this thing he would kind of he called it a safe place. And he would kind of walk up and the music would be playing real dim and he'd walk into the team meeting room and like, shh, he's coming, shh, he's coming. Everyone quiet down. Everyone gets quiet. And then he would get up there and he'd go up there and tell a story. Like Tyler Lockett, who talk about his dog Rufus, how he thought he would be lost. And then they get in the car one day. He hears a, hmm. He's like, Dad, I think I hear Rufus. He's like, no, you don't. And they open up the trunk and Rufus is like laying there, barely hanging on. And it's like, oh, we love you, Tyler. We got you. Like, thank you for sharing that. Or they'd be like, hey, Michael Bennett couldn't talk until he was like 5. And then the first word he said, we were at a drive-through. And his dad was like, what do you want? And Martellus was like, I want, a 4-piece nugget meal. And he's like, Mike, what do you want? And Mike couldn't talk. And he was like, no, Mike, you tell me. Martellus isn't going to tell me for you. And then he's like, ha, ha. And a whole room would go, Happy Meal. So I say all that because one year out of nowhere, I'm just sitting in there knowing that those stories are about to happen. And I'm like, who is he going to pick to come up there? Because someone would go up there and we're like, we love you. Like, if you go up there, we're like, we got you, Pat. Like, we love you. Safe place. You know what I mean? And then Pete would give you a hug and he's like, we got you. And then the room would go quiet. It's kind of like you got the floor. And he'd be like, I'm Pat Ivey, defensive line. And right before you say something meaningful, the room's like, shut up, boo hoo, we all got a story. No one cares about that. And it's just like a great way to break the ice and to introduce someone to kind of the fun culture. But so I'm sitting there one year just in my chair, like, who is he going to bring up? And he's telling these stories and music's playing. He's like, that time Justin came up here. I never went up there. The
Hmm.
time Justin came up there and told us, you reminded me of this. He's like, the time Justin got up there and told us about the time his mom resented him and how he had to rebuild that relationship. How she just couldn't get over the fact, how much pain he caused her during birth because his head was so big. She just couldn't get over it. And so I just got to sit there and take it. And people are patting me on the shoulder like, we love you, man. I'm like, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I did that. We're okay, though. I love my mom. But yeah, you reminded me of that. That's funny. So, and again, another great introduction story.
Exactly, exactly. I want everyone to know a little bit more about you, and I can speed it up and talk about your career and the opportunities I had to coach you. I want to fast forward to when I was talking to NFL scouts about you. And so if you don't know, how it works is scouts come in and they talk to the strength and conditioning coach, everyone involved that they're looking at. And you were a
Yeah.
second round draft pick, so of course they met with me, the head strength and conditioning coach, and they asked me about you and if I thought that how you would translate. I said he's already a pro, and it was like, what do you mean? I said the way he goes about his business, he's serious and he holds other people around him to a higher level. They may not understand it yet because they're still here in college, but I've been to the next level, and that's what those guys do. And they just
Mm.
thought, wow, that's really good information. I don't think I've ever shared that with you.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but it was true. It was you had a demeanor about you coming in, and while you were a player and you needed to develop into the player that you eventually became, but you always had that serious demeanor, like it was about business. I don't know if it was all about the NFL always with you, but I know it was all about business. So talk a little bit more about that.
You gave me goosebumps. I think in fifth grade, I went out for football and I quit after the first practice. I was like, this is hard. I'm sweating too much. I was like, I don't want to do it. And so I didn't do it that year. And then the following year, I started and I never looked back. Um, and I always say that in that year, I didn't play, like sitting there watching my older brother play, kind of motivated me and kind of fueled me to go out there and be better. Um, but I don't know. We could try to pick it apart and figure out what it was that did that to me. Maybe it was wrestling, the man in the arena mentality, and how I did show up at Mizzou as like this blue collar. They said 2-star, but that's generous. Like K-State was the only school looking at me, and then Mizzou offered me, and I didn't leave without saying yes. So. Um, I came in with the same class as Jack Miner, and he was over there, squatting the building, bench pressing cars, and I'm like, I got to compete with him. And then you got Dan Hoke, who's 6'7", Elvis Fisher, who's light on his feet, Tim Barnes, who looks like a 40-year-old man, Curtis Gregory. So like you come in and Austin Webbles, Palmgren.
Ooh.
So like you come in and you see these guys, it's motivating. But um, I anytime it had to do with football, um, like it was on. It was like a switch. Um, Kind of high school, college, and pro. Like anytime, like in high school, like going through class, that was different than after 3 p.m. a switch would flip on. I'm like, it's time to go to the blockhouse. Time to get the pads on, listen to rock and roll. You know what I mean? Um, and then college, the same thing. You go to school, but then um, you work out, and then you go to school, and so you got to be able to turn it off and on. And that's where you kind of realize um, that you have a switch, I guess. And some people they're able to control it, and those are kind of the ones that seem to do better. Um, but I don't know. And then the NFL, it just seemed like it was obviously a job, so took it as such. But yeah, I always had dreams of playing in the league. Um, but I just wanted to win. Just wanted to do my best. I wanted to start. I didn't want to ever sit, and so that was motivation. Um, they would hand me a lemon, and I wanted to make lemonade instantly. Um, so I just had that mindset of this is work and take it as such. But I've always kind of had that mindset that I wanted to win, but I wanted to win by, you know, you doing good. I wanted my running back to score. I wanted, James Franklin to ball out. I wanted, LaDamian, Marcus, Doriel, all the receivers, Bud, all of them to kind of ball out and do their thing. Because if they balled out, then I did. So, um, yeah, it's kind of like our senior class was probably the most unified group I've been around since like, and it's crazy to go from that group to the Super Bowl Seattle Seahawks, and just like how close and tight like we were at Mizzou, and then like boom, I go right to Pete Carroll. It's just like college. We're tight. We're having fun. We're fighting. It's like a family, and like those similarities are crazy. But I think the best thing for my college career was Coach uh, Pinkle kind of giving my senior class the reins and saying, "This is your team," and we just took it and had fun with it. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think maybe I was afraid that you were going to flip a table or put me through a table, but um, even now, I go to the gym every morning. I just there's a purpose to it, and I'm wired in a sick way for it. So.
But it's important to know how you're wired. It's important to know who you are and what makes you you.
And so the second you're not wired correctly, you got to evaluate why and see if it's fixable.
That's 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 very important. When you left Mizzou and then you were drafted by the Seahawks and you played 8 years, 10 years. How many years did you play?
In the league, I was
Yeah.
going on, I guess it was kind of tricky. I
Mhm.
really don't know what to say. I think I
Yeah.
have 8,
Yeah.
but I got paid for 9.
Yeah. So that's even better.
I don't know what to say. Would you say 8 or 9 years? I like
Just
to
say
say 9.
8 or 9 years. Just say almost a decade. Just say that.
Yeah.
A decade from now, you can say I played almost a decade in the league. Um, you had a chance to meet some pretty amazing characters there in Seattle, and I think one of my favorite players there was obviously Beast Mode. Um, so Marshawn Lynch. Just
Hmm.
talk a little bit about what you learned from some of those guys, because you went there, I'm assuming, with like you just said, a focus. How did those name some players, talk about them, what you learned from them, and how they help you to be a professional?
Um, but yeah, I think that core group of guys at that time was like the biggest celebrity in sports other than like LeBron and Kobe. Richard just came off the interview, with Skip, and Russ was doing his thing, and Marshawn was Marshawn and the LOB. And so I walked in the building and I go to my locker and I'm like, that's Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? He's like, what's up? He looks up and sees my name. And then, you got Michael Bennett walking in and he looks at me. And then you got Richard Sherman walking in, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Doug Baldwin. But then like kind of like I had the feeling again, like Tim Barnes, my freshman year at Mizzou. I'm like, that's a grown man. I walked in the building and see Max Unger, J.R. Sweezy, James Carpenter, Russell Okung and the rest of the group. And I'm like, these are grown men. I was like, I feel like I'm a little boy again. Um, but yeah, I think the relationships overall in football is what I'm so thankful for. Because we knew in 6th grade, I knew I wouldn't play football forever. You know what I mean? Didn't know when it would end, but we all knew it wasn't till we die,
Mhm.
and we signed that contract. But the friendships is something that can last longer than the game. But I think, let's see, I I'd probably say Russ. Um, Russ was a big influence on how to be a pro and how to show up every day and be real consistent um, and the definition of never wavering, good or bad. I think J.R. Sweezy taught me how to be even more violent on the field and dare I say an asshole. Um, I'm Max Unger. I played with for a year, but he was a huge influence on my center career. Um, I think going against our defense and playing against Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett and Bobby, KJ, all of them, I learned how to compete, learned how to trash talk, um, and to fight through the whistle, um, which played dividends being in the NFC West. So having to see certain players twice a year. So, but I think, I said that there was a lot of similarities with Pete and Coach Pinkel at Mizzou. Um, but like kind of how you started introducing the positive affirmations and the um, 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 help me out.
Mental
Um,
conditioning. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
like the sports mental
Yeah.
kind of said that, and oh, I'm blanking on all the actual terms, but
That's okay. That's okay.
how you show up and how your thoughts were so powerful and what you thought about and how you visualized and all this stuff. You show up to Pete and he would talk about it and bringing people to talk about it and have the days of like competition Wednesday, and in college we had like turnover Thursday, and then Friday it was like in the league it was fast Friday, so it was like be perfect so we can get done fast. No repeat Fridays, I think, in college. So yeah, there was just a lot of similarities, and so I showed up in the league and I was just having fun,
Yeah.
and then leave Seattle and you're like, damn, I was lucky. It's
Yeah.
not like that. It's not like that everywhere. So
Yeah. So I've never had anybody talk about something you just mentioned, and that's the trash talking. And obviously that can be polarizing. Some people who've never played don't understand, like, why is there a need to trash talk? Just show up, do your job. No need to try to degrade your opponent or anything like that. Describe trash talking and what it meant to you. And you said you learned how to do it. Why was it important to learn how to trash talk?
um I never wanted to disrespect anybody in the real life. And I never started the game. I don't think I ever started the trash talk. I'm just trying to think about where do I put my helmet? Where do I put my hands? What call do I make? Why is everyone staring at me? Oh yeah, I'm the center. I got to make this call. And so you just got to figure all these things out, snap the ball and set. And then you get done with the play and a dude walks by you, looks you up and down, and he just belittles you. You're like, excuse me, sir, we're not going down this road. It's like reel it back in. And so, that's just me putting it nicely. Like, I come back at him at that point. I'm like, we're not doing this. I'm a grown man. Um, show me some respect. So I think, in my sense, I'm kind of more of get back at you with my trash talk. Like, I'm trying to focus on my breathing and my job so I can go the longevity of the game. It's kind of like fighting in practice. Like once you fight, you're kind of exhausted. So once you start yelling, it's like you're out of rhythm. But I've heard some outlandish things for sure. But I would say trash talk, you're just trying to distract your opponent. Um, and that's why I started by saying I never wanted to like disrespect them off the field. Like there's been players, I made a TikTok about it. There's been players, bad talking my wife, and I'm like, that's like an unwritten rule. You know what I mean? Like my family, like it's an unwritten rule. Like you don't say like your mama. Like we don't do that. You know what I mean? And so I think there's lines you don't cross, but you know, there's a line because people want to cross them. So I don't know. I just wanted to play the game, and then once someone else opened their mouth, then I was like, "Well, we can have a conversation the rest of the game." You got it.
Yeah. So you just mentioned your TikTok. I think you went most of your career, if not all, not being on social media. And so obviously I'm picking up a lot of your workout routines, and you're at the gym now, and you're going through your transition. So you're a former player, you're retired now, and you're still young, and you've had an amazing career. So what made you think you would want to start exploring social media? And I'll give you my opinion of what I see when I watch your posts. I see someone who knows that working out is important, someone who's dedicated their life to a sport, to football, so much sacrifice. And then there's there's searching going on. There's searching for healing. There's therapy. It's therapeutic. It's an outlet. That's what I see, and I'm just trying to make sure that what I see is kind of what you think it is. And so, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I, there's people that are like, you got to find your niche, which I think is true if you're really trying to do it, right? If you're really trying to sell a certain brand image, if you're trying to sell water, you're not going to put Coca-Cola out there. But if you're just selling liquid, then who cares? You know what I mean? Um, and so I think I started that off my niche. I was like, I'm gonna do workout videos because in Christmas, my wife she got me a little vlog camera because I think I mentioned a few times I was like I should like record my workouts. So I was like, I'm there, I might as well. I'm not doing anything else. So she got me that camera and I just took it and ran with it. And I would say my social media has turned into like a journal and um, kind of like a video blog. You know what I mean? Like my workout videos. I'm not a certified trainer, but here's what I'm doing. You guys say like, "Wow, you transitioned." Like, here's exactly what I'm doing. So like, hint, hint, like, you know what I mean? Like, here you go. But like, um, at the same time, I'm, you know, stories will come up from my career, and I'm like, oh, that's worth sharing. But whenever you're in the league, whenever you're with the team, well, nowadays it's like everyone's got a podcast in the league, right? And they're all like trying to set up for the next step after the football, they get a step ahead of it. It would have been nice,
Right,
but whenever I was first starting, it wasn't really a thing, and so it was like, hey, protect our brand, and that brand was Seattle, the
right.
brand was Mizzou, the brand was Houston, and so I just bought into that. I didn't want to be the guy on the front page of anything because I'm a lineman and I shouldn't be. So if I was, it wasn't going to be great.
Mhm.
And so go to work, come home, go to sleep, go to work, come home, go to sleep. But now it's like um, I'm just I'm doing these things. I have a camera, and editing's fun. It's kind of therapeutic itself to see if you can create magic with what you got on video. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I've heard positive things, but it's just kind of an outlet, and you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just having fun with it.
Well, keep it up because it's important. And I've been there and I've seen a lot of guys, former athletes that are trying to find what it is that they're going to be doing after playing sports. And I think it's really important what you're doing. So it is as important as it is for you, it may be more important for someone else. So just keep it up. And just yeah.
I'm just, trying to take it off, see if I can get paid doing it. You know, because just
Never
being a
know.
father is pretty cool. So I'm trying to ride that out.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm thinking about talk to me about, you spend a lot of time working out. Like, how does your body feel after 4 years playing in college, 4 or 5 years playing in college, through couple all high school, 8 years in the NFL? Like, how does your body feel?
I mean, I played for 20 years. I mean, since sixth grade. So um, I've torn both ACLs. I broken my foot. Well, let's go in order. I broke my left foot, Jones fracture, tore my right ACL, both in college, and then I tore my left ACL. Um, I partially tore my right patella tendon and missed the NFC West Championship game my rookie year. Came back and played in the Super Bowl and should have ran the ball. And then I tore my ACL in my left leg. And then I come down to Houston. And then in my first year, I tear like 80% of my cartilage in my right knee. So all that being said, I feel amazing. um, I mean, I think I've lost 50, 60 pounds, give or take. Um, and I think that's been the huge contributor to my joint health.
Yeah, you look great,
Um,
man. You look great. You really do.
it makes me regret being a lineman. I should have came in as a tight end or a DN. I was like, dang, like I might have been better than Kelsey. People, people always like, you can't catch. I'm like, you don't know. You don't know what I could have done. Um, but I mean, I lost all that weight and I picked up cycling and got real crazy with that. And I think that kind of got my quad health going. And now I'm at a point where running, jogging like 2 miles feels like really good mentally. And the strain of it is completing the need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like in exercising, I'm still searching for that strain,
Mhm.
that moment daily where I'm like, I gotta get over the hill. And I'm like, I did it. Yes, go me. Um, but yeah, I was gonna run today, but I woke up and my knees hurt and it was raining, and I was like, tomorrow,
Yeah.
we'll go tomorrow.
Well, I'll make one recommendation to you, and then we'll wrap this podcast up. Uh, get you an infrared sauna, full spectrum.
I've been seeing that on you.
You have to do that. It is honestly, physically, I feel great. That's all I can say. I don't know. I can't tell you. I would say half my age. I feel half my age, and I would feel my age and more if I didn't have that sauna. And here's the thing, like I don't take Advil or Aleve. I don't take any of that anymore to feel better. So
Hey, I just went through some of my backpacks
yeah,
and I have some Toradol to throw away. So
yep,
onward and upward.
onward and
How
upward.
often do you go in the infrared?
I'm 5 days a week, so Monday through Friday. Usually, I don't do it on the weekends. Um, yeah, I wake up in the morning. I usually do cardio or I walk and jog with the dog, depending on if if it's raining, then I'll stay in, or if it's too cold, then I'll just get on the elliptical. I'll turn on the sauna, do my cardio, get in the sauna, and then I lift. So I use it as a warm up. So a lot of people use it as cool down. For me, I use it as
Yeah.
warm up so I can continue to train, and because I want to still train. I still want to.
Does it does it take up a lot of room or no?
No, no. You probably would need a two-person. That's the size I have, but it does not take. I would say 5 feet by 5 feet, maybe. Yeah, maybe somewhere around that, but not much of a footprint at all.
I'll look into it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been thinking about it. I think I'm gonna get something like the sauna box. So it's
yeah,
not infrared, but it's just like a sauna.
yeah,
Um, but I'm with it, and I think cold plunging is something I might, if I'm gonna start doing the
yeah.
jogging and marathons.
Yep.
Which I say that I'm like, I showed up at Mizzou, we're running 110s. I'm like, this is way too far. I was like, if I'm running this far, it's a touchdown. What are we doing? I was like, you should have me run 20, 40 yards max. I was like, anything further is a great job. Or the military days. I'm like, coach, my job is to keep my feet on the floor.
Yeah,
But like looking back at now, I'm like, it all makes sense.
yep.
But if you told me back then I'd end up being a jogger by choice, I'd punch you and I'd say no, I wouldn't.
I would agree with you, and I'm right there with you. But man, I
Full circle.
appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you being with us. To all the listeners and um, the people that are listening to this podcast and watching, where can they find you?
Well, my Instagram and my Twitter are Justin Britt 68, and then my TikTok is the Justin Britt. I made a few TikToks, and that's the one I ran with.
All
So
right, there you go. Good, man. Keep it up. I'm so proud of you.
appreciate it.
Just thank you for everything that you're doing.
No, appreciate you having me on. Love listening, and you keep going as well.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.